We all want to be talking about the complex ideas of the universe and of the quantum world, जैसे एस्ट्रोफिजिक्स एंड कॉस्मोलॉजी या फिर क्वांटम टनलिंग एंड क्वांटम एंटांगलमेंट। और इसीलिए इसी रीजन से मेनी ऑफ अस आज के डेट में फिजिक्स सीखना चाहते हैं। नाउ द थिंग इज, जब आपको फिजिक्स सीखना है, इसका एक स्टैंडर्ड रोड मैप है क्या? वेल द थिंग इज कि अगर आपको फिजिक्स सीखना है, फिजिक्स में किसी पॉइंट ए, मान लो जीरो से आपको जाना है कहां तक? आपको समझना है एम थियोरी या स्ट्रिंग थियोरी, या फिर आपको समझना है हायर नंबर ऑफ डायमेंशंस, या फिर क्या मल्टीवर्स एग्जिस्ट करते हैं। तो इसके अलोंग आपको काफी सारी मैथ्स चाहिए होते हैं, एंड आई होप यू हैव ऑलरेडी रियलाइज दैट बाय नाउ। एंड आपको कई सारे और भी आइडियाज सीखने पड़ते हैं। सो व्हाट इज द स्टैंडर्ड रोड मैप टू लर्निंग फिजिक्स? एंड द की पॉइंट ऑफ दिस वीडियो इज, मैं आपको इस वीडियो में ये बताना चाहता हूं कि अगर आप फिजिक्स सीखना चाहते हैं, मे बी यू वांट टू बिगिन फ्रॉम अ वेरी बिगिनर्स पॉइंट एंड आपको एडवांस्ड फिजिक्स सीखना है, तो आपको शुरुआत कहां से करना चाहिए? व्हाट इज दिस पॉइंट जहां से आपको शुरू करना चाहिए ताकि आप उन ग्रैंड थियरीज तक पहुंच सकते हो which are the recent breakthroughs in the field of physics और cosmology और astrophysics, ताकि आप modern advances के बारे में जान सकते हो। एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द इनफैक्ट 98% ऑफ द पीपल जो कि आज के टाइम में फिजिक्स सीखना चाहते हैं, वो जनरल रिलेटिविटी एंड क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स के यूनिफिकेशन के अटेम्प्ट्स को समझना चाहते हैं या फिर उन्हें यूनिफाई करना चाहते हैं, एंड इसीलिए वो फिजिक्स सीखना चाहते हैं। इन दैट केस आपको कहां से शुरू करना चाहिए ताकि आप इस लेवल पे पहुंच पाओगे, आप उन लेवल्स तक पहुंच सकते हो? दैट इज व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू बी टेलिंग। फर्स्ट अ लिटिल अबाउट माई सेल्फ। वेल, आई एम बाई नो मीन्स अ प्रोफेशनल, बट ऑफ कोर्स मैंने अभी तक जितना फिजिक्स सीखा है वो सारा फिजिक्स मैंने खुद सीखा है। द थिंग इज, व्हेन आई वाज इन 5th स्टैंडर्ड आई स्टार्टेड सॉल्विंग 11th एंड 12th स्टैंडर्ड लेवल ऑफ फिजिक्स। जब मैं 7th स्टैंडर्ड में था तब मैंने जेई मेन एंड जेई एडवांस के फिजिक्स सॉल्व करना शुरू कर दिया था। एंड राइट नाउ आई एम इन 9th स्टैंडर्ड, एंड वेल आई एम ऑलरेडी डूइंग थिंग्स लाइक Lagrangian एंड Hamiltonian formalisms of classical mechanics एंड वेल क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स। इनफैक्ट वेरी सून अब मैं जनरल रिलेटिविटी की भी शुरुआत करने वाला हूं, while already having studied special relativity. So in that case I will say कि at least for a beginner I would say that I already know enough to advise on एक beginner को फिजिक्स कहां से शुरू करना चाहिए, at least according to what I personally believe. So कहां से शुरू करना चाहिए? Well, that is the ultimate question. The thing is कि अगर आपको फिजिक्स सीखना है इन ग्रैंड थियोरीज को सीखने के लिए, वेल एम थियोरी एंड यू हैव थिंग्स लाइक जनरल रिलेटिविटी और थिंग्स लाइक क्वांटम फील्ड थियोरीज, वन थिंग दैट यू माइट वांट टू गो आफ्टर इज पॉपुलर साइंस बुक्स। एंड पॉपुलर साइंस बुक्स जो कि आपको फिजिक्स बहुत ही शॉर्ट ड्यूरेशन में या फिर बहुत ही शॉर्ट पेजेस में सिखाने का क्लेम करते हैं, वेल दे डोंट एक्चुअली teach you any physics and you don't understand any physics after reading popular science books. Now popular science books include really popular ones like A Brief History of Time by Sir Stephen Hawking, or you have many other popular books like The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene, and ऐसे कई सारे popular books होते हैं। But the thing is कि अगर आपने A Brief History of Time पढ़ा and you think you know physics, or you read Elegant Universe, or you read again Grand Design by Hawking, or you read any other such book, you don't actually learn physics. तब आप फिजिक्स नहीं सीखते हो, rather आप फिजिक्स के बारे में जानते हो। There is a difference between knowing something and knowing about something. And well, what is this difference? Well, Feynman ने एक बार basically कहा था कि he himself said this thing that there is a difference between knowing about something and knowing something, and he exemplifies this by the name of some birds. मान लो आपके पास कोई बर्ड है, well you ask yourself what is this thing or what is this thing called, and you say well in English this is what you call the bird, then you say well in German this is what you call the bird, स्पेनिश में आप इस बर्ड को कुछ ये बोलते हो, फ्रेंच में इसी को कुछ और नाम देते हो, यू हैव इटालियन में इसी को कुछ और नाम देते हो। तो अलग अलग लैंग्वेजेस फॉर एवरी कंट्री और एवरी स्टेट और एवरी रीजन की जो अलग अलग लैंग्वेज है, उसमें अगर आप देखते हो कि इस बर्ड को क्या कहा जाता है एंड यू मेमोराइज ऑल ऑफ दीज नेम्स, तो इन द एंड आपने सीखा क्या कि उस एक चीज को अलग अलग लैंग्वेजेस में क्या बोला जाता है। तो अब आप उस बर्ड के बारे में जानते हो, उस बर्ड को एग्जैक्टली नहीं जानते हो या फिर उसके नाम के बारे में जानते हो. सो लेट्स से दैट द बर्ड इज वेरी सिंपली कॉल्ड अ पीकॉक. Well, I don't exactly remember what bird Feynman exemplified, and let's say that bird is simply called a peacock. You know about peacock, you don't exactly know peacock. Now यहाँ पे अगर exactly इंग्लिश की बात करें या फिर लैंग्वेज वाइज इन कॉमन सेंस से बेसिकली एग्जाम्प्लीफाई करने की कोशिश करें, दिस स्टिल सीम्स गुड इनफ, राइट? You know about peacock. Well, in that case, you know about its color and its shape and its size, but that is not how things go on in the physical world. The thing is, जब आप a brief history of time पढ़ोगे, no offense to any popular science book, but the thing is, in fact, मैंने brief history of time से ही physics पढ़ना शुरू किया था and physics से मेरा interest आया. But the thing is, जब आप a brief history of time पढ़ना शुरू करोगे and well, by the end of the book आपने सीखा कि ऐसे कई सारी बेसिकली डिस्कवरीज हैं जो कि अभी होना बाकी है, या फिर दैट इज द क्वांटम थ्योरी ऑफ ग्रेविटी, और यू हैव क्वांटम फील्ड थ्योरीज दैट हैव बीन डिस्कवर्ड एंड सो मेनी ग्रैंड थ्योरीज दैट हैव बीन डिस्कवर्ड. बाय द एंड ऑफ द बुक आपने सीखा है अबाउट द थ्योरीज, नॉट द थ्योरीज themselves, and you won't learn quantum mechanics by reading a brief history of time. You're not going to learn quantum mechanics, you're going to learn about quantum mechanics. And that is the difference between reading a popular science book and a textbook. So the first step, अगर आपको फिजिक्स सीखना है, in that case आपको समझना है कि आपको फिजिक्स के बारे में नहीं जानना या फिर फिजिकल थ्योरीज के बारे में नहीं जानना, बल्कि फिजिकल थ्योरीज को जानना है to actually understand what is going on. So in that case, you might want to read popular science books, and well, of course, you can read. No offense. In fact, I love a brief history of time a lot. But the thing is, if you think you are going to learn physics by reading popular science books, then the answer is a clear no. आप पॉपुलर साइंस बुक्स पढ़ के फिजिक्स नहीं सीख सकते. सो हाउ डू यू लर्न? वेल, यू नीड टू डेफिनेटली रीड टेक्स्ट बुक्स ऑन फिजिक्स. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज, व्हाट टेक्स्ट बुक्स should you read to begin learning physics? Now you might want to say, well, we can maybe start with some quantum mechanics textbook or with maybe some relativity stuff. But the thing is कि आपने कोई भी textbook consider किया, you have a quantum mechanics textbook, तो it will consider as a prerequisite some classical mechanics and some classical electromagnetism and some optics and some waves and some vibrations. तो ये सारी चीजें हैं, मतलब आपको ऑलरेडी कवर करना है बिफोर यू डेल्व इनटू द वास्ट टॉपिक, वास्ट फील्ड ऑफ क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स. वेल, इन दैट केस आप डेफिनेटली क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स सीधे नहीं पढ़ सकते हो. You might want to read general relativity, but you need to know Newton's law of gravitation and Newton's laws of motion before dwelling into such a vast, such a huge and complicated subject. Well, in that case, the clear answer is कि आपको physics start करना है Newtonian physics से. And of course, the thing is, many of us are fascinated by higher number of dimensions. While when you open a physics textbook, जो कि आपको पहली चीज दिखेगी, that would be motion in one dimension. So that doesn't sound very interesting to maybe anyone who hasn't learned physics yet. The thing is कि आपको ये सारी चीजें पढ़ना पड़ेगा in order to truly understand those concepts. And if you think that you can understand them without reading it, so it's not possible. आपको ये सारी चीजें पढ़ना पड़ेगा, and only after that can you actually understand that what is going on currently in the fields of physics or what recent breakthroughs have been there in the field of physics. And so you have to go through all this step by step, and without that, well, you cannot absolutely do it. So how do you start? Which book should you start? Well, here I have University Physics by Sears and Zemansky and Young and Friedman, and this is a great textbook for any beginner who is wanting to learn physics. And well, I could tell you about the contents of the book, and it starts with, these are the brief contents. Well, it starts with mechanics, which mainly deals with Newtonian physics. So that is Newtonian mechanics. It goes for waves acoustics, goes to thermodynamics, electromagnetism, optics, and then modern physics. So these are basically the branches of physics that it has covered. So it covers almost all of the physics that you would find in maybe an undergrad physics curriculum. तो ये चीजें बेसिकली एक अंडर ग्रेड के फिजिक्स करिकुलम में आप देखोगे पाई जाती हैं. Now what are the chapters? There are total of 44 chapters in here, and you see ये सबसे basic चीज units, physical quantities and vectors से start करते हैं. In the second chapter you find yourself studying motion along a straight line, and then it goes to motion in 2 or 3 dimensions. Now the thing is that when you begin learning, you might directly want to jump to modern physics, the chapter 37 for instance, relativity, or chapter 38, photons, light waves behaving as particles, or chapter 39, particles behaving as waves. Then you have quantum mechanics, wave functions, quantum mechanics, atomic structure, or the last chapter, particle physics and cosmology. But you can't read these sections without already having studied न्यूटनियन मैकेनिक्स. तो आपको न्यूटनियन मैकेनिक्स सीखना होगा in order to actually understand modern physics, and that is how you begin. So what do you do? Well, you first of all read the Newtonian mechanics section, you solve all the problems, and after you are actually able to do these problems and all the electromagnetism or whatever chapters are there in this book, तब आप modern physics पढ़ पाओगे of the given book. In fact, I would say this isn't the only prerequisite, or this isn't the only book that you need to solve before maybe studying quantum mechanics. आपको और सारी चीजें, क्योंकि this book ये एक कैलकुलस बेस्ड फिजिक्स को इंट्रोड्यूस करती है, लेकिन ऑफ कोर्स इसमें जो कैलकुलस है उतना ज्यादा यूज्ड नहीं है. इट इजंट यूज्ड as extensively, rather mostly it is algebra, एंड जहां पे कैलकुलस एक्चुअल में यूज भी होता है, दीज आर द नॉर्मल कंसेप्ट्स ऑफ डेरिवेटिव्स एंड इंटीग्रल्स. सो आपको डेरिवेटिव्स एंड इंटीग्रल्स के कंसेप्ट पता होने चाहिए, एंड यू कैन स्टार्ट सॉल्विंग दिस बुक विथ इनफ अलजेब्रा बैकग्राउंड. So once you are done, you can just start solving this book, and you can solve it chapter by chapter. And once you are doing this book chapter by chapter, well, it is really a brilliant book, right? It's a brilliant book for anyone who wants to learn physics. In fact, यहाँ पे जो examples हैं, तो example problems के solutions तो already होते ही हैं within the chapter itself. But here you will find that there's this code, this barcode that you find beside the example. And well, आप इसे scan कर सकते हो, and you can actually see the problem, the example being solved in maybe a live video, even though I haven't tried it myself any time. तो यहाँ पे काफी अच्छी चीजें, you're going to learn a lot. I swear you're going to learn a lot by reading this textbook. So and यहाँ पे जो caution basically होता है वो काफी अच्छा होता है for preventing you for falling for maybe any kind of misconception or doubt. So here is a caution note: uniform versus non-uniform circular motion. There are two quantities, time derivative of mod vector v, which is the velocity vector, and the mod of time derivative of velocity vector are not the same. So this tells you that the first equals to the tangential acceleration is the rate of change of speed. It is zero whenever a particle moves with constant speed, even when its direction of motion changes, such as in uniform circular motion. The second is the magnitude of the vector acceleration. It is zero only when the particle's acceleration vector is zero. That is when a particle moves in a straight line with a constant speed. तो यहाँ पे कई सारी चीजें में आपको मिसकंसेप्शन होने वाली है, and this book clearly prevents you from that by its caution notes, and it is really a great book, right? You will find its conceptual problems, and well, the conceptual problems are really great as far as I can see. Here is the book summary. Okay, so the book ends here. Now it ends with a summary, and after it ends with a summary, it also has midway test your understanding of section whatever x dot x, whatever section that is. That is also a bridging problem. यहाँ पे yes, this is what I was talking about, discussion questions. So these are conceptual problems जो कि काफी अच्छे होते हैं for solidifying your understanding of the concept, but actually trying the actual exercises is a really important thing while learning physics. You might want to think, well, I don't like to attempt exercises or to solve problems in physics. मुझे नहीं पसंद है problem solve करना. But you cannot learn physics without solving problems of physics. क्योंकि जब आप physics के problem solve करते हो, Well, in that case, you have to use your own head to figure out what is going on in a situation, and that is what you do in research, right? So solving a problem for you is basically just research, but it takes a lot lesser time comparatively, of course. So you have any given problem, and in fact the problems in this are really kind of original, and they're great problems as far as I would say, because they are mostly application based problems. सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि हम लोगों ने complicated mathematical situation at hand रख दिया है and we want to figure out the mathematics. It's like, no, you want to study physics, the problem should be application based. So, and that is how problems should be, right? There are exercises which are based on section problems. So you have for a particular section the problems that are there, so you might want to try them right after finishing a section from the book. Then there are actual problems section, and these are taken randomly from the section of the chapter, and they're great. In fact, problem के level को as difficulties by 1 dot, 2 dot and 3 dot mention भी किया है, with 1 dot being easy, 2 dots being intermediate and 3 dots being actually tough, and they're really great problems. So I would say that try solving this book end to end. हर problem को खुद से work out करो, and the bridging problems really nice, like considering too many concepts, all the concepts of the chapter taken at one single problem, and you need to solve them, work through the discussion questions. And once you are done studying this book, and जब आपको लगता है कि आपने इस book पे mastery achieve कर लिया है, well, only after that should you maybe try going for some other advanced textbooks. In fact, this is an introductory undergraduate level textbook. मतलब इवन दो आपने इस बुक को पूरा कवर किया, आपको एक इंट्रोडक्टरी अंडर ग्रेजुएट लेवल की नॉलेज होगी, बट दैट इज इन इटसेल्फ अ बिग अचीवमेंट. यू नो व्हाई? बिकॉज सो मेनी पीपल जो कि मे बी एडवांस्ड कोर्सेज ले रही हैं इन फिजिक्स, they don't really know the full content of this book. Trust me, so many people who have done maybe an MSc in physics, and उन्हें भी basically पूरी इतनी knowledge नहीं होती as much given in this textbook. And why is that so? It is due to lackness of clarity in their concepts, and the lackness of clarity in their concepts, this is a very important problem to solve in its own self. क्योंकि आपने basically when you learn quantum mechanics, you might want to say, well, quantum mechanics is all about finding the wave function and solving its problem and this and that. लेकिन to actually understand what is going on behind the equations is a very important, a very crucial step in actually studying advanced physics. तो उस केस में आपके fundamentals like these बहुत ही clear होने चाहिए, and you must have a mastery over these concepts. तो आपने इस बुक को पूरा सॉल्व किया है. डोंट बी डिस्करेज्ड कि आपकी नॉलेज सिर्फ एक इंट्रोडक्टरी अंडरग्रेड करिकुलम के ही नॉलेज तक बेसिकली एक्सटेंड होती है. रादर यू शुड बी encouraged by this fact that so many people don't even know that much of physics, and they don't have that much clarity in the concepts of physics as much you should have after solving this book. So solve this book completely end to end, including all the problems, and after that you can head for more advanced books. Now another thing that many people consider learning physics from is the Feynman lectures on physics. And trust me, I would not recommend you to read the Feynman lectures on physics to learn physics. I would not. And even though despite the fact कि Feynman lectures on physics मेरी favorite books हैं on physics, and yet I do not recommend you कि आप Feynman lectures on physics से physics सीखो या फिर physics start करो. Just don't. If I would want to recommend you, I would say university physics. अगर आपको enough algebra, basic algebra already आती है, and you know maybe concepts of derivatives and integrals, just start with university physics. Okay, it is a great textbook. Work out through all the problems. Feynman lectures is like, no, don't start. Here is the first volume. I'll introduce you to it. Here's the first volume, and well, it's like the first chapter, atoms in motion. Well, then that's basic physics, the relation of physics to other sciences, and then so these are for the basic introduction. Okay, the fourth chapter, conservation of energy, and here is the big jump. क्योंकि जब आप यूनिवर्सिटी फिजिक्स पढ़ोगे in any undergrad physics curriculum, the first thing that you learn is about motion, or about how to calculate displacements and velocities and accelerations. यहाँ पे यू हैव कंसिडर्ड कंजर्वेशन ऑफ एनर्जी, तो यू जस्ट इंट्रोड्यूस के फिजिक्स कैसे पढ़ी जाती है, एंड देन यू हैव कंजर्वेशन ऑफ एनर्जी, देन यू हैव टाइम एंड डिस्टेंस, एंड देन प्रोबेबिलिटी, एंड देन यू हैव थियोरी ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन विदाउट इवन लर्निंग न्यूटन्स लॉज ऑफ मोशन। तो आपने न्यूटन्स लॉज ऑफ मोशन सीखा नहीं, एंड यू हैव द थियोरी ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन, एंड देन यू कम टू मोशन, न्यूटन्स लॉज ऑफ डायनामिक्स, conservation of momentum. See, and after learning these things, you come to vectors, and after learning Newton's laws, you come to the characteristics of forces, and then you have work. And see here, chapter 15th, the special theory of relativity. So I already said कि special relativity आप इतनी सारी चीजें कवर करने के बाद पढ़ोगे. How come Feynman introduced it merely in the 15th chapter? You have 16th chapter relativistic energy and momentum, 17th chapter space time, and only after that in 18th chapter you learn rotation, or in 19th the center of mass. तो ऐसा कैसे हो रहा है? What is exactly happening right here? The thing is that Feynman won't teach you physics from beginning, okay? Even though Feynman lectures were originally given at Caltech to undergrad physics students, and I really feel bad for them क्योंकि इन lectures का level, although undergraduate course के लिए ही ये assigned थी, and undergraduate course के लिए इन्हें select किया गया था, topic select किया गया था, लेकिन फिर भी जो level है ये comparatively higher है. And yet the clarity that you will get in understanding after reading the Feynman lectures, after knowing the topic already, is unmatched. क्योंकि I will tell you, Feynman ने खुद यहाँ पे लिखा है प्रीफेस में कि वो जब अपने लेक्चर्स दे रहे थे, उन्होंने सोचा कि इन लेक्चर्स को उन्हें उस क्लास के सबसे इंटेलिजेंट बच्चे को देना है. एंड ही थॉट कि अगर सबसे इंटेलिजेंट बच्चा सिर्फ मेरा लेक्चर सुनता है, मुझे ये लेक्चर्स सिर्फ उसी बच्चे को देना है, मुझे इसमें ऐसी भी बातें बतानी है जो कि सबसे इंटेलिजेंट बच्चे को समझ ना आए. That is how Feynman delivered the Feynman lectures on physics. Well, how come is Feynman a good teacher? Then Feynman was not a good teacher. He was an excellent teacher. Trust me. Well, Feynman's style of explaining things is just brilliant, and it is like nothing I have ever seen before in any lecture series or in any other textbook. They're just brilliant. These are masterpieces. Trust me, these 3 volumes, as they're considered the Bibles of physics. लेकिन अगर ये सच में इतनी अच्छी है, तब क्यों हम इनसे फिजिक्स नहीं सीख सकते? Well, that's the question, and it really hurts me when I say this कि मेरी favorite book, the ultimate masterpieces of physics, the Bibles of physics, आपको नहीं पढ़नी चाहिए अगर आप फिजिक्स पढ़ना शुरू करते हो. Even though there's such, I don't know how to compliment them enough. Well, the thing is कि Feynman की जैसे बेसिकली सोच थी. Well, you have Caltech, the California Institute of Technology, one of the best institutes across the globe. And well, when Feynman says कि Caltech की क्लास में he wants to lecture the topics to the most intelligent kids such that not even he has a full grasp on the topic, Feynman did it. He was trying to reformulate the entire way physics is taught, and he did so. But the thing is here कि Feynman की जो सक्सेस थी, एंड Feynman लेक्चर्स इन लेक्चर सीरीज की 1961 to 63 जो सक्सेस थी, that was based not on the how many number of students or students who had actually been registered for the course, had completed the course, or had been attending the course, but by the number of graduate students that attended the course and the number of lecturers and professors that attended all the lectures of Feynman. So यहाँ पे although ये introductory undergrad supposedly थी, but here what actually happened कि undergraduate से ज़्यादा graduate students appear करने लगे in the lecture series, and उनसे ज़्यादा भी professors. इनफैक्ट कैलटेक की फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, कैलटेक के प्रोफेसर्स उन लेक्चर्स को अटेंड कर रहे थे विद फाइनमैन. दे वर सीइंग हाउ फाइनमैन वाज एबल टू अनफोल्ड वास्ट एंड ब्रिलियंट आइडियाज ऑफ फिजिक्स इन दीज मास्टरपीसेस ऑफ लेक्चर्स ऑन फिजिक्स. सो यू कैन क्लियरली सी कि ये लेक्चर्स बिगिनर फ्रेंडली नहीं है. यू माइट वांट टू थिंक, वेल हाँ मैंने ये लाइन पढ़ लिया है एंड आई रेड दिस चैप्टर एंड दिस इज ग्रेट, वेल मुझे समझ आ गया. इट्स लाइक नो, don't spoil yourself. It's the same like अगर you are reading them as for beginning, पहली चीज आपको ये कंप्लीटली समझ नहीं आएगी, आपको ये लेक्चर समझ नहीं आएंगे अगर आप इन्हें एज बिगिनर्स पढ़ते हो. Second thing, what you might want to say, you will take things at face value and will not be able to match up with Feynman's speed or deductions with how he deduces things by mere logic and out of the air. Now the third thing, it is just like एक masterpiece. For instance, movie है, you have any masterpiece of a movie and आपने उस movie को देखने के बजाय YouTube पे जाके उस movie की explanation देख लिया, तो यहाँ पे क्या होगा, पहली चीज आपको वो एंजॉयमेंट फील नहीं होगा जो कि मूवी को देखना. when you watch the movie in real time, you won't feel that enjoyment by merely hearing to the explanation. Second thing, आपने मूवी स्पॉइल भी कर दिया. So here are these things that are going on when you read Feynman lectures as a beginner, that first you won't be able to fully understand them and you might think that no, these are not well written, these are not as good as they claim to be. And second, वेल उसके बाद अगर आपने कोई दूसरा फिजिक्स बुक पढ़ा, यू माइट से वेल ये काफी अच्छे बुक, एंड व्हेन यू रिविजिट फाइनमैन लेक्चर्स यू फाइनली सी कि कैसे फाइनमैन ने ये सारी चीजें कनेक्ट किया. लेकिन फिर भी वो जो एक्साइटमेंट होती है जो कि फर्स्ट टाइम में आपको दिखती है व्हेन यू रीड अ पर्टिकुलर चीज, that might be lost, and that is why I am really afraid to recommend this to any student who is beginning to learn physics. तो मान लो आपको फर्स्ट वॉल्यूम इज मेनली मैकेनिक्स, रेडिएशन एंड हीट. यू हैव स्टडीड मैकेनिक्स एंड यू हैव स्टडीड रेडिएशन एंड यू हैव स्टडीड हीट. रीड दिस देन, एंड फिर आप देखोगे कि कैसे फाइनमैन आउट ऑफ द एयर टॉपिक्स को पुल आउट करते हैं, एंड आउट ऑफ द एयर ही कैन मेक डिडक्शंस from mere logic and philosophy, and he can basically see कि कैसे conservation of energy, you might see conservation of energy, you will see Newton's laws of motion or Newton's laws of gravitation. So you're seeing things from Feynman's perspective, and after that will you complete electromagnetism, and then you can basically read this second volume. You complete quantum mechanics, you after that you know what quantum mechanics is, read the third volume. एंड जब आप ऐसे पढ़ोगे आपको ऑलरेडी आइडिया होगा ऑफ दीज पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक्स, एंड देन यू रीड फाइनमैन लेक्चर्स, यू विल हैव एन आउटस्टैंडिंग कंसेप्ट क्लैरिटी इफ यू डिड एवरीथिंग विद द अटमोस्ट ऑनेस्टी. मतलब आपने इन सारे प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व किए हैं, क्योंकि तभी आपको फिजिक्स आएगी. एंड देन यू रीड फाइनमैन लेक्चर्स एंड आपको कोई पैराग्राफ समझ नहीं आए, यू स्पेंड टाइम ऑन दैट, काफी टाइम उस पर स्पेंड करोगे, रीड दैट एंड रीड दैट ओवर एंड ओवर अगेन, and then you see कि फाइनमैन कैसे चीजों को एक्सप्लेन करते हैं. you'll have an amazing conceptual clarity. And well, the last thing again that I would not recommend is for going for books like this, and it is really essential to recommend you to not solve Jackson's electrodynamics. And why is that so? Now this thing, well, I would say with honesty, is really hated by a lot of graduate students. And why is that so? क्योंकि it is too mathematically rigorous. Okay, मतलब when you open this book, well, here is any random chapter. Well, we have plain electromagnetic. Let's take magnetostatics, Faraday's law, quasi-static fields in SI. And here the topic is about estimation of self-inductance for simple circuits. So you might have already studied about self-inductance. But the thing is कि इसमें जो rigor है in this book, the mathematical rigor, well, it considers you need to be a master of Green's functions. And अगर आपको already electromagnetism आती है, so maybe you have read university physics with great honesty, well then आपको already electromagnetism आती है, and आपको enough mathematics, इसके लिए काफी ज्यादा mathematics चाहिए होगा. You need to be already able to solve differential equations, ordinary and partial. आपको कैलकुलस आना चाहिए. कैलकुलस वेल सिंपल, नो नॉट दैट कैलकुलस. you need to be able to understand लिमिट्स क्या है, डेरिवेटिव्स, इंटीग्रल्स, नॉट जस्ट सिंपल इंटीग्रल्स, बट you need to be able to do multiple integrals, and well, surface integrals, volume integrals, you have multivariable calculus, that is partial derivatives, and well, Taylor series expansions, and all these kind of strange things. This is speaking of calculus, ordinary partial differential equations. Well, uske baad familiarity with linear algebra does not hurt actually, and then you need certain more concepts like Fourier analysis and stuff. तो इसमें काफी आपके मैथमेटिकल प्रीरिक्विजिट्स, एंड आई वुड नॉट recommend anyone to jump straight into Jackson's electrodynamics without having an idea of these mathematical prerequisites or of without having already learned enough physics. So it was quite essential to show this book in this video to recommend you to absolutely stay away from these textbooks. उसके अलावा at the end of the day आप यूनिवर्सिटी फिजिक्स या फिर यूनिवर्सिटी फिजिक्स जैसी कोई सिमिलर टेक्स्ट बुक पिक कर सकते हो. यू शुड रीड दैट फुल. उसके बाद आप और कंसेप्ट क्लैरिटी के लिए मे बी फाइंड माय लेक्चर्स एंड उसके बाद यू माइट वांट टू स्टडी फॉर द एडवांस टेक्स्ट बुक. सो सम ऑन क्लासिकल मैकेनिक्स और on electromagnetism. Well, maybe if you have enough mathematics to do that, you can go then for Jackson's electrodynamics and you can go to more advanced topics like quantum mechanics or relativity and stuff. And at the end of the day, that was all that I wanted to say, and hope that you'll be doing great in your physics journey, because it's all about learning, right? You should enjoy the learning itself, enjoy the process itself, rather than completely reaching out for destination कि मैंने ये कर लिया तब उसके बाद I'll be finally happy, I'll be finally glad कि मैं अब मैंने ये कर लिया. Well, it's like no, you'll be happy when you're actually going through that journey, when you're learning things and when you're seeing things unfold one by one, and that is where actual happiness lies, I believe. That was all for today's video of mine, and thanks to all the viewers.